Alright, let's see. Implement a brick breaker game. Not bad, not bad. Okay, let's try this. Generate an interactive simulation showing how water molecules form hydrogen bonds based on temperature changes. Let's see if it can handle that. No way, I must say, this is really impressive. Alright, what about this? Write a script that simulates 100 colorful balls bouncing inside a sphere. Let's see if it can pull this off. And it nailed it. Holy smokes. Alright, how about this? Create a stunning visual demo that simulates the Big Bang expanding into the universe. Oh my god, this is insane! So OpenAI recently released o3-mini, and even free users have access to this. Now, it came out a few days ago, but instead of posting about it as soon as it was released, I actually took some time to figure out what you can use this for. What cool and awesome things can you actually do with this? And that's exactly what we're going to go over today. I'm going to show you various ways you can use it, plus show you some really impressive use cases. And of course, we're also going to go over its specs and benchmark scores, but that's boring stuff, so we'll leave that to the end of the video. Let's dive right in with the demos. So like I said, even free users can use this new o3-mini model right now. All you need to do in ChatGPT is click on this Reason button, and it would actually use o3-mini to think through how to answer your question. Now, think of o3-mini as a PhD level expert that's particularly strong in math, coding, and science. So the following examples I'm going to show you also involve math, coding, and science. If you want to get it to do more regular stuff like helping you reply to an email, or summarizing an article, or crafting a social media post, then honestly, you don't really need a PhD to do that, right? So this actually wouldn't make much of a difference. You can just use the regular ChatGPT for that, or Google's Gemini, or DeepSeek. So that being said, let me show you some really cool demos. Now, to test previous AI models on coding, I would get it to create a snake game in Python, but honestly, that's way too easy. All of the older models could already get this, so let's bump up the difficulty. Instead, what I'm going to do is get it to create an autonomous snake game using Python. The two snakes compete with each other, and then I'm going to turn on this Reason button and click Generate. Let's see if it can pull this off. Alright, so notice how it's thinking through how to respond to us step by step. So here you can see its reasoning process. It's crafting the game, setting up gameplay, mapping out snake AI, mapping the movements, controlling the food distribution, working through collision mechanics, etc., etc. And then it's refining the approach, and then it comes up with this code for us. It's quite long, so we're just going to click copy here. And then in VS Code, I'm just going to paste in this code in a new Python file and then click run. So let's see what that gives us. And indeed, we have a snake game where two snakes compete to eat food. And once they eat a food item, they do get longer. Plus, the scoreboard on the top left does reflect the score of the two snakes. How insane is that? And notice also at the end there, the green snake hit the wall, so it was game over for the green snake. Really impressive. Alright, let's try a new chat. This time I'm going to get it to write a Python program that shows a ball bouncing inside a spinning hexagon. The ball should be affected by gravity and friction, and it must bounce off the rotating walls realistically. Let's press generate and see what that gives us. And again, you can see its thinking and reasoning process as it answers your questions. So it's first creating a dynamic scene, calculating collision dynamics, adjusting for wall movement, calculating relative velocity, etc., etc., and then piecing everything together. So it gave us all this code again. Let's copy it and then paste it in here and then click run. And look at that. It nailed it. This is indeed a ball bouncing inside a spinning hexagon, and the ball is affected by gravity and friction. Very, very impressive. By the way, if you input the same prompt in DeepSeek R1, even though I'm a really big fan of DeepSeek R1, it's great for a lot of things, but it cannot get this prompt correct. So that shows you the power of o3-mini. It's really good at these coding tasks. Alright, let's move on to the next example. Now, instead of ChatGPT, here's another free place you can use o3-mini. So it's called AnyChat. This is a free Hugging Face space, and the awesome thing about it is not only can it help you generate code, but it actually gives you a live result. So I don't need to copy and paste everything into VS Code and then run it there. So once you are in any chat, here you would select the provider, and I've selected OpenAI, and then here is where you would select the model. Here we've selected the most recent version of o3-mini. And then here is where you enter in a prompt. You could also upload a reference image for it to analyze, but it doesn't work with o3-mini. So on their official release page, it says o3-mini does not support vision capabilities. So if you want to do that, then developers should continue using o1 for visual reasoning tasks. Anyways, let's do a biology example. So I'm going to write this prompt: generate an interactive taxonomy tree visualizer of big cat species, displaying their classification from family to genus and species. Include panthers, lions, tigers, etc., etc. Nodes should connect based on evolutionary lineage with hover over species descriptions. And then here's a key phrase I like to use. Use CSS, JS, and HTML in a single HTML file. This ensures that everything is self-contained within one file. Anyways, let's click generate and see if it can handle this. So you can see first it's typing out the code in the left panel, and once it's done, you should see your output on this right panel. So let me just zoom out a bit so you can see the full output. And if you hover over these, it does show you a description of each of these species. So lion is Panthera leo, tiger is Panthera tigris, leopard is Panthera pardus. Very nice, very nice. All right, next up, let's test it on a chemistry example. So the prompt is generate an interactive simulation showing how water molecules form hydrogen bonds. The visualizer should depict dynamic interactions between molecules, highlighting the formation and breaking of hydrogen bonds based on temperature changes. Again, I'm going to use this key sentence: use CSS, JS, and HTML in a single HTML file to ensure that everything is self-contained. Let's click generate and see what that gives us. And again, note that for this AnyChat interface, it's outputting the code on the left, and then once it's done, we are going to see a live demo on the right panel. And this is what we get. These are indeed water molecules, and you can see when they get close enough to each other, then you can see these hydrogen bonds forming. Now, let me decrease the temperature to 0, and how awesome is that? The molecules do slow down a bit, and you can see a lot more hydrogen bonds forming as they get close to one another. And then if I drag this all the way to 100, you can see right now the water is boiling, so it's pretty chaotic. The water molecules are bouncing around everywhere, and we don't get any hydrogen bonds because the temperature is too high. Let me drag this back to like 30, and you can see it's slowing down a bit, and we start to see a bit more hydrogen bonds. Again, a super impressive generation. All right, next, let's prompt it with this: design an interactive tool to visualize how CRISPR works. This is basically a tool to cut and edit DNA. So users should be able to input a DNA sequence, select a target gene, and simulate the cutting and repair process. Again, use CSS, JS, and HTML in a single HTML file. Let's click generate and see what that gives us. Alright, so this is what we get. So let's say this is the input DNA sequence. Here we are targeting this gene. Let's click simulate CRISPR. Okay, so let's click cut DNA. All right, so it looks like it has identified this gene sequence over here. You can see GCTAGC. So it has cut the DNA at the start of this sequence. Okay, now let's click on repair DNA, and it looks like it has just glued the sequence together, I guess. Obviously, I'm not an expert in this. If you're a CRISPR expert, please let me know in the comments below if this is actually an accurate representation of what CRISPR should do. All right, here's another example. Build Microsoft Paint with advanced settings. Use CSS, JS, and HTML in a single HTML file. Let's click generate. All right, here's what we get. Let me just draw on this. Okay, so this works. Let me change the brush size to 22. Brush size works. Let me change the color to red. Color works. Let me change the opacity to 0.5. And it does kind of work. You can see it is getting more diluted at the end here. Let me turn this down even more. And yeah, I hope you can see this opacity effect over here. And then let me set this back to 1. Let me set the brush size to, 9. Set the color to blue. And then let me test out this line option. Okay, so line works. Very nice. Let me see if rectangle works. Rectangle also works. Very nice. Now, if I check this fill mode for this rectangle, let me see if it also fills the rectangle. And yes, it does. And what does gradient fill do? Let me try that out. That's a very nice effect. And then let's also test it with circle. Here we're going to change the color to green. And this also works perfectly. Very nice. And then let's see if the eraser works. I'm going to increase the brush size. And eraser also works. So from just one prompt, 0 shot, it was able to create this Microsoft Paint clone, and all these settings actually work. Very impressive. I hope you can see how insanely powerful o3-mini can be. All right, here's an even crazier demo. So here the prompt is create a highly advanced, visually stunning demo using 3JS that simulates the Big Bang expanding into the universe. The demo should capture the transition from an initial singularity into a vibrant, expanding cosmos. Ensure the code is self-contained and can be easily run in a modern browser. This is another key sentence that you can use. And actually, let me also add, include a start and reset button. Okay, let's click generate and see if it can handle this. All right, so let's click start and see what that gives us. Whoa, this is insane. That indeed looks like the Big Bang, and now everything is like expanding out and forming the universe as we know it. And it's still going. I don't know if you can see this on the screen, but there are still dots in the simulation, but it's super tiny. That is so cool. Let me press reset and actually run this animation again. Damn, this is really nice. Again, I'm just really impressed by the abilities of o3-mini. So note that if you want to create these 3D visualizations or simulations, then another keyword you can use in your prompt is to get it to use 3JS. It's really good for these 3D simulations. So anyways, this platform is called AnyChat. It's a free Hugging Face space. I'll link to it in the description below. Let me move back to ChatGPT because I feel like I haven't given it enough attention. Now, you can use both platforms. I use them interchangeably. It doesn't really matter. You can use both for free. So next, here's another keyword I like to use, which is p5.js. This is also good for like animations and 3D visualizations. So here the prompt is write a p5.js script that shows an animated visualization of the Pythagorean theorem. Let's see what that gives us. So the nice thing about ChatGPT is you can see its thinking process, whereas you don't really see that in AnyChat. Now that being said, the disadvantage of this is you can't actually see a live demo of the code. So it just spits out the code for you. You don't see a demo of it on the right. Now also note that OpenAI does have this feature called Canvas, which does allow you to preview the code in a separate panel. However, this feature currently does not work with o3-mini. Now anyways, if you prompt it to use p5.js, you can actually run this code on this free online platform. So I'll link to this page in the description below as well. So I'm going to copy all this code, and then I'm going to go to this site, and then paste the code in here, and then press run. And here you can see an animation of the Pythagorean theorem. How cool is that? Now, to get it to play the animation again, all you need to do is press play again. So very nice. It's not perfect. This square over here is going beyond the edge. I'm not sure why it didn't move the whole thing down a bit. But anyways, there you go. This is an animation of the Pythagorean theorem. Okay, let's try something even crazier. So here, the prompt is write a p5.js script that simulates 100 colorful balls bouncing inside a sphere. Each ball should leave behind a fading trail showing its recent path. The container sphere should rotate slowly. Make sure to implement proper collision detection so the balls stay within the sphere. Let's click generate and see what that gives us. All right, so again, it's thinking through how to code this up. Let's copy this code and then paste it in here and press play. And here we go. This is indeed 100 balls. I think I'm not actually going to spend the time counting how many balls there are, but it does look like 100 to me, and they are bouncing within this sphere. And each ball does leave behind a trail. So again, perfect. It just nailed this with just one prompt, 0 shot. Here's another idea for a prompt. Use CSS, JS, HTML in a single HTML file to implement a brick breaker game. Let's click generate and see what that gives us. And this is what I get. Very nice. Notice that I have 3 lives, so this is indeed a brick breaker game. I can move the paddle with my mouse, and if the ball hits the ground, like it just did, I have lost a life. Let me try to lose again, actually, and see if it will do like a game over message or something. So notice now I have 1 life left. Let's see what happens. Very nice. So there you go. Here is a fully functional brick breaker game, again from just 1 prompt, 0 shot. I hope you can see how powerful o3-mini can be in terms of coding. Going back to ChatGPT, here's another cool idea. Create an animation that explains quick sort. Include adjustable settings. Use P5. Alright, let's copy all this code, and then in our P5 editor, let's paste the code in here and press run. Very nice. So you can see it's animating how quicksort would work. Very nice. And I think this is a speed slider, so let me slide this like over here, and then press reset and see what happens. Yeah, so this just makes it a lot faster. Let me make it a bit slower and click reset. Very nice, very nice. So there you go. Here's another really cool example of how you can use o3-mini. Let me tell you about this awesome tool called ChatLLM by our sponsor Abacus AI. This allows you to use the best AI models out there all in one integrated platform. Plus, they have a new Route LLM feature, which automatically picks the best LLM to use based on your prompt. You can also generate images right from the chatbot, and they're using the best generator out there, Flux Pro. Plus, you can even generate videos with a single prompt. Plus, it has a really cool artifacts feature, so if you're coding or building something with it, it allows you to view and interact with the app side by side. They also have a new coding tool called Code LLM. This works exactly like VS Code, but it's supercharged with AI. You can chat with an AI on the side to help you generate or edit code, or you can even press tab to autocomplete code. This allows you to code way faster. This is a really powerful way for you to use the best AI models out there all in one platform. Try it out via the link in the description below. And then finally, going back to AnyChat, you can also actually run P5 scripts in AnyChat as well. So let me show you that right now. Our last prompt is create a 3D representation of our solar system. It includes settings the user can adjust, use P5. So let's click generate and see what that gives us. Alright, here's the result. So let me adjust all the settings. Simulation speed, very nice. So this makes the planet's orbit faster or slower. And then planet size scale, that just adjusts the size of the planets, very nice. Distance is kind of like zooming in or out. And then X rotation does this, very nice. Y rotation is just rotating it along this line, so it doesn't really change much. And then Z rotation is like this, so that works. And then if I uncheck this, then it gets rid of the orbit paths. So again, all these settings work perfectly, 0 shot. Now, of course, instead of just fancy animations, you could also paste in some really hard math or science or coding problems, and o3-mini is one of the best models you can use out there to help you solve these problems. So just as a quick demo, I'm going to paste in this pretty complex university-level physics problem from UC Davis. Here it says 2 warlords aim identical catapults at each other, both of them being at the same altitude. The warlords have made the necessary computations to crush the other and fire their catapults simultaneously. Amazingly, the 2 stones do not collide with each other in mid-air, but instead the stone Alex fired passes well below the stone that Genghis shot. Genghis is annihilated 8 seconds after the catapults are fired, and Alexander only got to celebrate his victory for 4 seconds before he too was destroyed. So A is find the maximum height reached by each of the rocks. B is find the maximum amount of time that elapses from the launch to the moment that the rocks pass each other in the air. And then C is find the angles at which each warlord fires his rock. Now, I'm a pretty dumb guy. I have no idea how to solve this problem, and I barely even understand what this means. But let's just copy and paste this exact problem into ChatGPT. And then let me just add hyphens here to format it nicely, and then click generate. Let's see if it can get the answer correctly. So again, you can see it's reasoning through how to solve this problem. Okay, so after thinking through this, it goes through a ton of complex calculations, as you can see here. This is a very complex university-level physics problem. And then after going through all these calculations, here are the final answers. The maximum heights are 78.4 and 176.4 meters. And if we double check, that is indeed the answer for A. And then for B, the time the stones pass each other is 4.8 seconds. And if we double check this, it is indeed 4.8 seconds. And then finally, firing angles, Alex must fire at 33.7 degrees, Genghis must fire at 56.3 degrees, and that's indeed what we see here. So it nailed it. I hope from all these demos you can see the strengths of o3-mini. I hope this gives you a good sense of the impressive things that you can do with it. Again, this is a model that is PhD level or higher at coding, math, and science. So if you have some really tough problems in those domains, definitely plug it into this. This is the best model to use. However, for just regular writing or chatting, then honestly, all the models out there like GPT or Gemini or DeepSeek can handle this very well. You don't really need to plug it into o3-mini. In fact, let's go over its specs right now. So first of all, note that this is just o3-mini. This isn't even the full version, which is called o3, which is even more performant. Notice that they've actually released 3 different models, which developers can choose via the API. So we have o3-mini low, medium, and high. And of course, the high version is the most performant. In fact, o3-mini high even beats o1. Notice that this is o1, not o1-mini, in benchmarks like competitive math and PhD level science questions and competitive coding, as well as software engineering. So it says here, starting today, free plan users can try o3-mini by selecting Reason in the message composer. Now, of course, free users would have a daily limit on how many messages you can send. And then if you are on the paid plans, it says here, all paid users will have the option of selecting o3-mini high in the model picker for a higher intelligence version. That takes a little longer to generate responses. Pro users, this is the $200 per month plan, they will have unlimited access to both o3-mini and o3-mini high. So note that on the free plan, you only get access to the normal version of o3-mini. They didn't actually specify whether this is o3-mini low or medium. But in order to access the most performant one, o3-mini high, you do need to have a paid plan in order to select that option. Now note that all these benchmark scores on this release page only compare o3-mini with their o1 models. I'm really curious to see how this compares with, other companies like DeepSeek. So let's look at a few independent leaderboards. Here is a leaderboard called LiveBench by Abacus AI, and if you rank this by the global average, first of all, note that their most performant o3-mini model, the high model, does outperform the rest, including DeepSeek and Google's Gemini. So it is ranked the highest here. Now, that being said, their o3-mini medium model, which is the one you can use for free in ChatGPT, that does beat Google's Gemini 2.0 Flash as well as their latest Gemini 2.0 Pro models, but it is slightly behind DeepSeek R1, which is really interesting. So here you can see that although o3-mini Medium outperforms DeepSeek R1 in terms of reasoning, it underperforms in terms of coding, math, data analysis, and language. Here's another very interesting result. Here's another leaderboard called LM Arena, and this is where users can blind test different AI models. And based on all these blind tests, this is really interesting. So it looks like for this leaderboard, Google's Gemini 2 models are on top. And then o3-mini is actually all the way down here in 9th place, tied with DeepSeek's V3, which is a non-thinking model, and way behind DeepSeek R1, which is in 3rd place. Very interesting results. Now, they didn't specify whether this is o3-mini low or medium or high. If I were to guess, I think this is like one of the low or medium versions. And then if you look at another leaderboard by Artificial Analysis and you rank this by quality, interestingly, in this case, o3-mini is ranked at 2nd place. It's tied with DeepSeek R1 with a quality score of 89. And then if you look at this other benchmark called Humanity's Last Exam, which is kind of misleading to be honest, this isn't like a test for AGI or anything. So here it says, it would not alone suggest autonomous research capabilities or artificial general intelligence. Instead, Humanity's Last Exam tests structured academic problems rather than open-ended research or creative problem-solving abilities. So here it's basically basically testing an AI's ability on expert level performance on closed-ended, verifiable questions and cutting-edge scientific knowledge. But anyways, all the leading models out there have historically performed pretty bad. So you can see GPT-4o only got 3.3 out of 100. Even Gemini's thinking model only got 7.7. O1 got 9.1. Even DeepSeek R1 only got 9.4, which is already pretty impressive. But then if we look at o3-mini medium and o3-mini high, these are the first models to get double digits on this exam. And honestly, I think from the rate of progress we are experiencing right now, this humanities last exam benchmark is going to get beaten within this year. There's going to be some AI model that's going to get over 90%. But that's a story for another day. Anyways, going back to this o3-mini, note that this is just o3-mini. This isn't even the full version called O3, which is really damn performant. So here's another benchmark called ArcAGI. Notice the full O3 models, O3 low and O3 high, are like way better than the O1 series. And then O1 mini is all the way down here. Now they did not map O3 mini on this graph. If I were to guess, it would be somewhere in this range. But just note that from O3 mini to O3 is a significant leap in terms of performance. Now, although this reason button only allows you to use o3-mini, there is a way you can use O3 right now. And this is by using their newest deep research function, which they've also just released this week. Now, currently this is only available to pro users, which is the $200 per month plan. And this basically uses O3, the full version, to actually search the web and do research for you. And then it would compile all its findings into a really nice report. So you can ask it things about like financial analysis or legal analysis. You can even ask it to write like entire scientific papers for you. Anyways, I just wanted to briefly mention this because it's currently the only way you can use O3 right now. So that sums up my video on o3-mini. Hope that gives you a good idea of some cool and impressive things you can use with it. Let me know in the comments below what you think of this, which demo were you most impressed by, and if you've been playing around with it, what other interesting things were you able to make it create? As always, I will be on the lookout for the top AI news and tools to share with you, so if you enjoyed this video, remember to like, share, subscribe, and stay tuned for more content. Also, there's just so much happening in the world of AI every week, I can't possibly cover everything on my YouTube channel, so to really stay up to date with all that's going on in AI, be sure to subscribe to my free weekly newsletter. The link to that will be in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.